Every story has an author. Every author has a story. Join us for off-the-page interviews, inside stories, and a look into the world of publishing. This is Page Turners. Welcome to Page Turners, brought to you by the agency at Brown Books. I'm Hilary Kennedy, and today we're back with our fitness guru, Alice Ann Dailey, and she's written a fantastic book called DAILEY Strengthening, 6 Keys to Balance Core Muscles for Optimal Health. And Alice Ann, you're gonna help us figure out how to get our body in harmony.
Yes.
So you've got these keys that you can walk us through to kind of help us figure out how to get everything back into alignment so that we feel good.
Well, the first key is your feet, because that's your foundation. And how you walk affects you all the way up your body. So when you walk, you want to have one foot going straight forward like you're walking on a balance beam, and then you can walk back. Now, the one thing that happens that a lot of people do is they turn out. So there's more weight on the outside part of their foot.
Right.
And then they just kind of shift from one side to the other and lean, so their hips aren't twisting at all. But if they walk correctly, then they're working all of their feet muscles, their their calves, their thighs, and their hips. So if they walk, one foot going in front of the other, it's twisting their hips. The right hip forward as the right foot goes, and then left foot forward.
So it's really all connected. I mean, it's working everything all the way up.
All the way up.
Wow.
And then the arms, you want your elbows out as you walk instead of like runners do,
right,
and walkers do that. But that gets more of your upper body working, and it helps get your hips going forward with your feet.
That's true. You can really tell a difference.
Doesn't it? So you're not just working your feet, but also all the way up. Then the second one is your knees. So if you walk with the toes pointing, the middle toe especially going straight forward, the inner knees are together, and the hips, you don't want the hips to turn up.
Okay.
But if one foot at a time, it's doing the natural thing. They don't turn up, your hips are level.
How interesting. And so I wonder, because I've been to the chiropractor before where he said, one hip is up higher than the other, and I wonder how much of that is because of how I've been walking. How interesting.
Well, it could be, but it also could be something about if you're right-handed or left-handed. So if you're picking something up a lot.
With that one side.
Yeah, it tightens you up, and you don't get as much work on the other side.
Right, you're off balance. Okay, interesting.
And then you also want your the bottom of your breastbone to go down instead of forward or back.
Okay.
So when you stand or walk, just be sure that you're not doing something like that. So keep the bottom of the breastbone down. That's your triangle 3. And I always look at my elbows out, because that's getting more core muscles. Because I've seen people, they lift their arms like this, and then their triceps are hanging way down. Right. I've seen that before. But this works all of those muscles.
All the way down. That is so fascinating that just one small movement can work so much of an entire limb or side of your body.
That's it. And then for the 4th vertebra, you want your collarbones wide. And so when you walk, and the hips twist, because you're walking like on one line, one leg goes in front of the other, and then the shoulders don't twist. Just the arms are going, and then you're getting good shoulder muscles, front and back. They're working correctly.
That's so fascinating that you can be working all of these muscles and actually building strength by just doing something you do every day.
Yeah.
Just walking down the street.
Just be sure you walk right.
How
and then getting your head on straight so your head's not going
leaning
forward. Yeah, you got to keep the length at the back of the neck so you get strength in the front, and then everything works right.
How interesting. Well, okay, so let me ask you this. If I'm standing around checking email on my cell phone, To keep everything in alignment, what's the best way to do that if I'm looking at my foot? Is it to hold it up, more at eye level? Okay.
Yes, I think so.
Because I always do a lot to this, and
yeah,
I know
then
that's definitely knocking
neck.
everything out of alignment.
Yeah, but just, and then I was going to tell you, if you walk correctly, then your head automatically
will move.
Bounces. And you see that with animals.
That's true.
Yeah. So if you're walking correctly, your head is not going to be, your muscles aren't going to be tight.
And I'm sure it probably keeps all your joints lubricated and everything's just moving the way it's supposed
Definitely.
to. Mm-hmm. How interesting. Mm-hmm. This is fascinating that it's all just super simple things. It's just having that awareness to make sure that you're kind of keeping things in the right direction.
Yeah.
How fascinating.
And if we watch little people, they do it right.
Little kids, it's like they just naturally already know. It's just when we get older we develop all the bad habits, right?
And they start watching their parents. Do you do it that way?
Right. Well, let me ask you this. So when you're standing around, sometimes you shift weight from side to side, or what's the best way to kind of handle that time when you're idle?
Well, it's best to have the weight on both feet, the same weight.
Okay.
That way you're not
leaning too much into one or another.
And then thinking of lifting up instead of sinking down, you lose a lot of muscles just sinking. But if you thinking tall, you're using a lot of muscles all the way through.
Well, and one thing I've noticed about you is your posture is perfect. And I've noticed a lot of people, when they think of having perfect posture, they're doing a lot of this and, bringing their shoulders way back. But I don't notice you doing that. You have a completely different stance, but your posture's perfect.
Well, if you open too wide and then the bottom of your breastbone goes forward, you're losing one of your triangles.
Gotcha, okay.
So you don't want to lose that.
So it's just kind of keeping it kind of down and forward, but not up forward, but just kind of down and forward instead of all the way back.
And I always keep space with the elbows turned out. Then your lungs have more space to take in breath because your ribs can open.
That's so true.
They open outward, but if you're like this, they don't open as well. So you don't breathe as deeply.
And your muscles are getting more oxygen this way.
That's right.
It's incredible how all of these little things are tied together.
Yeah.
That's so
everything's
fascinating.
Connected.
Now, is there anything else that I need to know? Anything we haven't covered that I need to remember?
No, just try to remember it all, because everything from your feet to your head, it's kind of like an email or something. If one part is missing, it doesn't go through.
Right, it doesn't make sense.
But if you stand up straight and you lift your toes, I can feel it going all the way above my eyebrows to my head.
That is so fat. And I loved your tip about when we spoke the last time about spreading your toes, having that sort of like as your anchor. So fascinating.
Definitely.
Alice Ann, thank you so much. It's
You're
amazing
welcome.
How simple but effective your techniques are. That's incredible.
It works well.
Well, and if you want that harmony and that balance and that alignment, then you need to get a copy of Alice Ann's book, Daily Strengthening, 6 Keys to Balance Core Muscles for Optimal Health. You definitely won't regret it. I'm going to practice a little more. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you next time on Page Turners.
Okay.